Hey everyone, it's Justine and welcome to my video today featuring Concord and Ninth's Floral and Flutter die. And I wanted to do this video as a part of my 1 million views event, as well as to give away a $25 gift certificate to Concord and Ninth. So I'm going to be making a number 10 card, so I'm grabbing a piece of 8.5 by 11 Neenah Solar white cardstock in 110 pound. This is going to be my base. I'm going to cut it down to 8 by 9.25 inches. So I just trimmed a half an inch off the shorter side, and then I needed to cut it down to 9.25 on the long side. And I am going to line it up at 4 inches and create my scoring fold. I love my Stampin' Up! Trimmer for this because I have the scoring tool as well as the cutter right in one. I'm going to have a front panel as well because I'm going to be creating a shaker card, which I'm cutting down to 3 3/4 by 9. I did this on some thinner cardstock that's 80 pound Neenah Solar White. But if you only have one thickness, that's fine. But you might want to enjoy getting a thicker one and a thinner one so that you can save some money in the long run while using your thick bases or thick cardstock for bases and your thin ones for card panels. Okay, so I'm just going to set my card base off to the side here, and I'm going to be working on my card panel, and I need to measure the exact middle of that. So I'm putting it into the card trimmer at 4.5 inches and just marking it on the top and the bottom with a pencil. And the reason why is I'm going to be taking this floral and flutter die, so more the flutter, and I'm going to be able to line it up exactly in the middle of the card with my pencil marks. It's going to help me do that. I'm just going to attach it using some 3M tape, and I'm going to send that through my die cutting machine. A lot of you have been asking about my cutting plate. It's a glitter one, it's from Sizzix, and it's new. I got it at Creativation. I linked to it below. The gold ones are out of stock right now, but the silver ones are in stock, so it's just a fun way to be able to cut your dies, especially if you need some new ones anyway. I'm going to line them up, the butterfly die up 3 times actually, and I'm going to remove the die each time off of my cutting panel because I like to cut in the middle of my plate. So I'm going to cut one on the right and on the left. It's pretty easy to center because there's not a lot of space or wiggle room left, especially after you cut the one in the middle first. So that's why I would recommend cutting the middle piece first, that you can get everything nicely centered. A lot of people have been asking me about my cutting plate. These are new from Sizzix. They came out at Creativation, and I've linked to it below in the video description. The gold is sold out, but the silver is available at the current time. Next up, I'm grabbing these watercolor bases. These were from Concord and Ninth, and I used them before I realized they were retired, so I apologize for using something that's unavailable, but you could create your own bases or use your own pattern paper. So what I'm doing is just creating some interest behind the butterflies, and I am using the watercolor panels to do that. So I'm just tracing with a pencil where the butterflies approximately are so I know where to place the cardstock. So I'm adding some glue on the back of each of these panels, and I'm creating 3 different colors. So I have this red, green, and sort of this orangey yellow, and my frame fits perfectly over top that I created with the butterflies. So now what I would normally do, and I forgot to do, is I would have marked the butterflies off again with the pencil onto the watercolor pieces so I know where to center my panel, but I forgot to do that. So I added some of the acetate here onto the butterflies, and I covered 3 of these. You can use regular packaging if you like, but it tends to be more shiny than acetate that is specifically designed for this type of crafting. So now I have my 3 frames, and I'm just going to create a shaker card. But before I do that, I have to stamp my sentiment onto the front of my card because I don't want to have to deal with 3D foam tape and stamping. So I grabbed just a very, very simple happy birthday stamp, and this is from the Butterfly Beauty Stamp set from Concord and Ninth. I thought having a simple sentiment was perfect because there's so much detail in the shaker card, so I didn't want to distract it all from the pretty details of my card. Now I've gone ahead and created my first little square there, so I am separating each one of my panels so that I can put different types of shaker materials in each one that coordinate with the color of the background. So I am just simply adding pieces of 3M foam tape. It's my favorite foam tape because you can easily cut through it, you could rip it, and it's just overall super user friendly. So this is my favorite so far, and I have a gigantic roll that's lasted me well over a year, so it's worth the price. Now I'm just trimming down the rest of it here, and then I'm just going to add my details and bits and bobs into my card panel. So I'm grabbing a whole bunch of these beads. Now, I've had this collection for a really long time. It's also no longer available, unfortunately, but beads are available generally from so many different craft areas, from jewelry stores, online. There's so many different options. Or you could use something like the shaker bits that I'm going to be using next. Now, this is my first time trying out they are called Little Things from Lucy, and that's her company. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. And I love the fact that her sequin packages come with sequins, they come with really big different sizes, they come with little confetti, they come with beads, and you'll see those in just a second. So I just added some stars as well from Pretty Pink Posh, and this here is the collection I was talking about. So it has a whole bunch of different things in it. It has white, silver, and pink butterflies, as well as a whole bunch of silver, white, and clear sequins and confetti and things like and beads. So these are really perfect, and I absolutely think they made the card. The shaker bits are just the funnest part to pick and choose. And they generally last quite a long time. I mean, if you think about it, how many times do you really want to use the same things over and over again? So generally for me, one little package, which is around $4, lasts me probably 3 to 4 cards, I would say, if I add a couple of bits and bobs from each type. So overall, I really like them, and I don't get bored of them very easily. I'm going along with my embossing bag, and I am just going over the sides. This helps that the actual bits and bobs don't stick to the 3D foam tape, which happens quite often. Now, I just noticed that my tape, you can see it a little bit. So that's what's cool about this 3M tape as well, is that it's pretty good about readjusting. So I just pulled it up a little bit and just readjusted the 2 spots that you can see it. And I absolutely love the way that it turned out. So next up, all I needed to do was attach the butterflies. So I wanted to reuse these little pieces that were die cut as well when I cut out the frame for my butterfly. I thought this would look really cool. And if any of the sequins happen to get stuck, because there are a couple of really big ones in there, you wouldn't really notice because the body or the torso of the butterfly is actually going to cover a lot of the frame. So I think this looks really fantastic and just adds that little extra something. So I hope you enjoyed this card tutorial. It was really fun making a number 10 card, and I absolutely enjoyed doing the shaker card version of it. If you're interested in the giveaway, head on over to my blog. It's in the video description as well as on the screen right now, and you can head there and fill out your details to win $25 to Concord and Ninth. A big thank you for sponsoring the video today. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face, or you can click on the 2 videos below in case you're interested in more shaker ideas.